Hey, it's Michelle from Speech Therapy Supports. Listen, the days fly by and sometimes it's bedtime already, and it occurs to us that, oh no, we haven't gotten our speech practice in today, even though we intended to do it every single day this week. So if that happens to you, it's bedtime, you're already tired, but you got to put your child to bed, you're going to follow your routine. Here's a way that you can still get the speech practice done in a way that's effective, in a way that builds connection with your child, and in a way that's fun for both of you. Like all of our speech activity routines, we have 3 simple steps in order to get the speech practice done. If you're not sure what a speech activity routine is, I have an intro video that you can go back and watch. But step 1, for every time we want to practice during a daily activity with our child, we have to first notice the routine. So we've noticed that we do the same thing roughly every evening at bedtime, so we're going to use that time for speech practice. Next thing you want to do is set that reminder. So whatever time you generally do bedtime routine, maybe put a little message to come up on your phone or put a little note on the bathtub, something that's going to remind you, oh yeah, we're going to do speech practice while we're doing this thing we do anyway every single day. Now that we have taken care of one of the biggest barriers to getting the home speech practice in, which is how do I find the time? We've done that, we've figured out when we're going to do it, and we've linked it to something we do anyway. So we've made that nice and easy for ourselves. Step 2 then is to look at that routine, all the things you do in the routine, and identify some repeatable actions or steps, something that gets repeated over and over again. So here are some examples. Just walking up the stairs on the way to bed or down the hallway. The actual movements and the steps can be used when paired with a speech practice word or sound or phrase. That can be your speech practice. There's more repeatable action in getting into the pajamas. So getting undressed and also getting pajamas on. There's a lot of repeatable actions as each body part gets undressed and dressed. Bath time is an ideal time for speech practice. Oh my goodness, there's so much repeatable action that can happen in that period of time when your child is pretty much contained in one area, and you can get lots of great interaction, lots of fun, and lots of speech practice done. So I'm going to do a whole other video on bath time, but just off the top of my head right now, I can tell you turning the water on and off as you fill the tub can provide opportunity for those speech targets to get said and practiced. Washing action figures one by one, washing body parts with a cloth, pumping soap one at a time, one squeeze of soap at a time during the bathing and cleaning process. Brushing teeth, another time when I bet you have a predictable set of steps or series of steps that you take every time you brush teeth with your child. And what about story time? Do you do that a certain way every time? Are there a predictable set of steps? Is there something that you do the same way over and over again? I bet you there is, and you can use that for speech therapy practice. Or you can add something in that provides the repetition needed for speech therapy practice. And maybe you have some other bedtime rituals that you use at the end of the day to kind of keep that connection with your child, have that warm, wonderful end to the day, but can also be used for speech therapy practice. And I'll have some ideas at the end of this video that you might want to start to bring in some new rituals to your bedtime routine with your child. So now we know when we're going to practice with our child. We know what activity we're going to do and how we're going to use that activity. And now to make it a speech practice activity, we just need to know what are we going to say every time we perform that repeatable action or before we do a step in our routine. Now, this is going to be totally customized for your child's speech therapy plan and your SLP assigned target that you're supposed to be practicing at home. But here are some examples of some things that will work for bedtime routines. But really keep in mind, the sky is the limit here. So if every time you're taking a step up the stairs, you're practicing up, 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 you might be working at word level for P at the end of words. You might be working on vowel, consonant, syllable shapes. You might be working on lip closure. You could be working on final consonants. So that one activity could be targeting a number of different speech therapy targets. But somebody else might be doing the exact same routine. They might be coming up the steps. They have 15 steps on the way upstairs to their house, so they get 15 repetitions of a speech target in every single time. But they're not saying up, they might be saying step because they're working on S blends, for example. They might be working on P at the end of words. They could be working on lip closure. They could be working on final consonants. It doesn't matter. We're just finding a word that works, and that's what we're targeting during a daily routine. So what has your child's SLP asked you guys to practice at home? Is there a word, a phrase, a sentence, a sound that you can make as you head off to bed every evening that will support that target? Getting undressed at the end of the day, you might choose to say the word off every single time an article of clothing gets taken off. That would be great if you're working on F at the end of words, or if you're working on vowel consonant syllable shapes, or if you're working on final consonants, or if you're working on early fricatives. If you don't know what a fricative is, ask your child's SLP. And there could be more, obviously, for that task. Or it might suit your targets a bit better to say the word pull. If you're working at P at the beginning of words, if you're working L at the end of words, if you're working on CVC syllable shapes, if you're working on final consonants, or others. Again, whatever it is that you say in this routine needs to match the speech target that you're working on. Here's a few more examples. If you're like me, when I had little kids, I had a big bucket of bath toys always in the bathroom. So why not wait till your child's in the tub and decide that you're going to drop those toys in one by one, and your child is going to say drop every single time. So therefore your repeatable action is just dropping those toys in, and the repeatable speech turn is the word drop. That would be great if you're working on P at the end of words, or R blends, or final consonants, or some other targets. Think about something that you and your child can say now at bath time for any of the repeatable actions that go with your routine. I think my point is made here, but you can never have too many examples. Brushing your teeth, you might just go ch 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 ch, just like in the song. Ch 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 ch. Practice doing the CH sound if that's your target. But you can make most any target work for teeth brushing. Here's a few more examples. When reading bedtime stories, you might say the word turn every time you turn a page. If you've got a 20-page book, that's 20 chances to practice. Maybe your child's SLP has asked you to practice 3-syllable words, or TH in the middle of words, or vocalic R, or J at the end of words, or P at the beginning of words. And you might have your child say another, or page, or another page if you're working at phrase level. Take another second here. What's going to work for you for a repeatable speech turn? And let's think about other fun bedtime rituals that you can create, or ones that you already have that you want to use for speech practice. So for example, you might want to say goodnight to random things in the room, and you each take turns going back and forth saying, goodnight lamp, goodnight teddy, goodnight carpet, and just be silly because you're working on the G at the beginning of words for good night, or maybe the T at the end, or maybe a 2-syllable word or an N in the middle. Again, think about your target. What might work? You might want to kiss, blow kisses to things in the room because you're working on S at the end or K at the beginning. So the word kiss works for you. You might want to play an I Spy game where you're saying, find something that's blue, and then the other person says, I found it, because you're working on F at the beginning. Or you might want to talk about your day and talk about the things that you liked, or the things that you love, or the things you're thankful for, because the words like, love, and thankful contain the targets that you need to practice. Now, the parents that have participated in my Parent Speech Helpers course are well aware of this, and I'm sure your SLP has told you that home practice, it is essential that you do it at the correct level, or the level where your child can be the most accurate. Again, your child's SLP will let you know what level to practice at. So you might be just working on isolated sounds, and you can certainly use these routines to work on isolated sounds. That just means you're only practicing the sound by itself. If you want some tips on how to produce those sounds, please head over to our website. Most of the examples in this video are single words, but you can always put those words in short phrases or sentences as your child makes progress. Always remember, speech turns must meet the criteria of the SLP assigned target for home practice. If you don't know what that is, check in with your child's SLP. They can be sounds by themselves, they can be syllables, words, phrases, or sentences. They should be repeated over and over again to get maximum reps so that you're actually getting some effective practice in, and accuracy above all. If what your child is saying when you're practicing is not correct and doesn't sound like the target, and you're correcting them most of the time because it's wrong, then you need to change the activity, you need to change your expectations, speak to your child's SLP and find out what you need to do, but don't continue to practice in those situations. Are you not sure if the speech turn that you're thinking about is right for the target that's been assigned to you by your child's SLP? Or possibly you can't think of a speech turn? Don't worry about it. It's the hardest part. Just ask your child's SLP, and I bet between the two of you, you can come up with a great speech turn for the activity that you want to complete with your child so that you get your speech practice done every week. My articulation tip sheets can be very helpful for figuring out the speech turn. If you want to learn more about those, the link is in the bio. They are available for many targets, and that list is growing every week. And you can request specific targets by emailing us. So the link is in the bio if you want to check those out and figure out if they might work for you for your speech practice at home. Always keep in mind that speech activity routines must be motivating and fun. That's why we're using your everyday activities to get your child engaged, keep them engaged. You must have opportunities to repeat. There has to be lots of times in there that your child is able to have an opportunity to practice their target. And that's why we're using the movements and steps of your routines so that you can get lots of repetitions in there. And accuracy above all. If what your child is saying does not quite sound right, or you're not sure that you're actually practicing the target that you've been assigned by your child's SLP, check in with your SLP. I'm sure that you can problem solve any difficulty that you're having in home practice to get you back on the road to having effective and consistent practice at home. And at SpeechTherapySupports.com, our goal is to connect SLPs and parents to help the right speech practice get done at home. If this video helped you and you'd like to see more speech activity routine videos, please give us a like so we know that people want more. And comment below and let us know what you do at bedtime with your child in your home. Explore the links below and check out our other resources. See you next time.